in this situation, there is a purpose. Don't ask God, Lord, how can I get out of the problem? How could I escape from this problem? Okay, but first ask God, God, what is the purpose of this problem? Ano po yung gusto nyong malaman ko or matutunan ko out of this problem? And once you have discovered the purpose, the reason of the problem, for sure God will show you how to get out of the problem. He Himself, God Himself, will intervene to you to resolve the problem. Okay? Sometimes you don't need to do something. You just need to wait. And God will put you out of the problem because I have experienced it. Okay? So, just wait, call on God, and He will deliver you out. For God said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Okay? And the last point is, trust the Lord and remember that He is in full control. Okay? Trust the Lord. Is there anything too hard for the Lord? Imagine He created everything and your problem maybe is small like an atom to Him. Okay? So there's nothing too hard for the Lord. God is really in full control. Okay? Sabi nga, you are safer in the family if you are in God's will rather than staying in a palace out of His will, out of God's will. Okay? So those are the things we have learned last time. Okay? So now we will go on. Let's see the changes that happened to Abraham. This is again a background or a lesson last week. Okay? Maybe let us check ourselves. Let us check our hearts. Okay? Don't look at the person beside you or behind you, but look at your heart. Maybe we are in this situation, or maybe we are experiencing this situation. Okay? So let us check the changes that took to Abraham's life. Okay? When he went down to Egypt. First, Abraham changed from trusting to scheming. Okay? We have learned this one because he fears of his life. That's why he make a plan of himself. Okay? He make a scheme. He make a plan to overcome or to resolve the problem that he might encounter later on. Okay? And what is that scheme? That is yung kanyang lying. Okay? So, next is Abraham moved from confidence to fear. Okay? Okay? From confidence to fear because he began to look, started looking at the people. He feared because he will face those Egyptians, those proud people, okay? And he began to think of something will happen to him. These Egyptians might do harm to him. That's why he has this fear, and he resorted into scheming, into lying. Okay? Remember, these things, Abraham felt these things because there is something wrong with him. Okay? What do you think? Ano yung sa tingin nyo wrong with Abraham during this particular time, this situation? Okay? There's something wrong with Abraham. That's why he's beginning to feel this way. Okay? He lived to scheming, he feared, and from others, he think of himself. He became selfish. Okay? He became selfish. Okay? He was thinking of his safety than his wife's safety. Okay? So, let us open in Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. Okay? Let us open in chapter verse 13. Verse 13 of chapter 12. Say, I pray thee, thou art my sister, that it may be well with me for thy sake, and my soul shall live because of thee. So, meron siyang motibo, okay, for himself, para sa kanyang sarili. Okay? And fourth is, he moved from bringing blessings to bringing judgment. Remember what is God's promise to Abraham in Genesis chapter 12, 1 to 3? Now the Lord said unto Abraham, get out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show you, and I will make of thee a great nation. And I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. So Abraham supposed to be bringing blessings to the people. Okay? But what happened? Okay? Instead of bringing blessings, he brought judgment. Okay? In verse 17, let us read why judgment. Okay? Verse 1 through, and verse 17, and the Lord plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai's, Abraham's wife. So, there are things that Abraham done. Primarily because of what? Because of his relationship with God. At this time, Abraham is far away from the Lord. That's why these things happened to him, or he experienced. Why these things he planned, he made a scheme, his fear of his life. He became selfish. He brought judgment. So this is the result of, getting or going away from the Lord. So let us keep our fellowship, our communication, our communication with God. Keep it in yung situation na talagang malapit ka sa Panginoon. Okay? And these things, hindi natin ito maiisip. Okay? If you are in God's will, or in God's way, okay, you will do the right thing, what God has promised you or tell you what to do. Okay, so let us now go to let us continue now. Okay? So, God intervened in the situation where Abraham is, is far away from the Lord. Malayo siya sa Panginoon. He's in Egypt. He's enjoying blessings from Pharaoh, primarily because of what? Because of his life. Pharaoh and the Egyptian officers treated him well, okay, because of Sarai. Okay? So, but God intervened with Pharaoh, and Pharaoh discovered that Abraham lied to him, right? And Pharaoh's decision is for Abraham and his wife to not deported sila. Right? So, they were sent out of Egypt. So what is the reaction of Abraham? Okay? Let us continue. Abraham learned his lessons, repented, and went out of Egypt. As in Genesis 13:1. You follow. Okay? This is, first thing is, what we will learn of Abraham's experience. Okay? When you disobey the will of God, the only right thing to do is to go back to God's will. Okay? When you disobey the will of God, the only right thing to do is to go back to God's will. First, second is failure, or no failure is permanent. Okay? Abraham started all over again. Learn from your mistakes and move on. Okay? Learn from your mistakes and move on. We may be forgiven. Third point is, we may be forgiven, but remember this, we will still suffer some consequences of our wrongdoing. Okay? We make mistake, we make a wrong decision, we do something that is not according to God's will. Oh yeah, God will surely forgive you. God will surely, because God loves us. Okay? He will surely forgive us from these things that we have done wrong. But the consequences of our wrongdoing, of our sin, we will still suffer. Okay? Or is, there are no benefits from disobedience. Getting away from God, we will not benefit from it. Cause Him trouble. Okay? Cause Him trouble. And this number 5 point, this is very important. Never abandon your altar, or never run away from God. Okay? Stay in fellowship with the Lord, no matter what the circumstances may be. Stay with the Lord. This is the only solution. Stay with the Lord. Whatever circumstances in life we have been experiencing. A victorious Christian life is a series of new beginnings. Okay? Don't quit. Okay? Don't quit. Never be discouraged. A victorious Christian life is a series of new beginning. If we fail, kung tayo po ay nadapa, get up. Okay? This is a lesson for us. So, Abraham failed, but what he did? He learned his lesson, he repented, okay, and he obeyed God. This is the thing that we should do. Okay? We know we fail, we do something wrong. Okay? We learn from this lesson, from this mistake. Pray to the Lord, Lord, forgive me for what I have done. And now, obey what is God's will for you. Okay? Never abandon your altar. Always have a good communication with the Lord. Pray and read your Bible. Okay? Stay in fellowship with the Lord, no matter what the circumstances may be. Okay? A victorious Christian life, as I said, is a series of new beginnings. Okay? This is not an excuse for sin. Okay? This is not an excuse for sin, but it is an encouragement for repentance. Okay? Because we are human beings. We experience, or we sometimes fail. But don't let this failure, or don't let this, the love of God, having a forgiving God, make an excuse to sin again. Okay? Don't let this be a license or a reason for us to fail again. But this is supposed to be an encouragement to us. Because God loves us, God will forgive us whatever mistake we have done. Okay? So, now let's go to the third test. What is the third test? Okay? This is sometimes, most of the time, also Christians fail. Okay? Abraham may have failed the first two tests, right? Okay? But what do you think the third test? Does he fail or he pass? The third test is the test of things. Okay, the test of things. What do you mean by things? Ano ito yung mga things na to? Those are material possessions, material blessing, material things. Okay? Probably money, possession, property, everything. Okay? So, Abraham may have failed the first two tests, the test of circumstances and the test of people, but the third test, which is the test of things, he passed it with a great success. Why do you think? Why do you think he was able to pass the third test? Okay? Because of what he did previously. When he was sent away from Egypt, he learned his lesson, he repented, he obeyed God. So the fellowship, okay, ay restored. Okay? So nanumbalik. So umano siya sa will ng Panginoon. That's why the third test, he was able to pass it. Not because of his own ability, but because of God. Okay? The test involved land, wealth, but the way he handled the matter served as an example to every believer. Okay? So, ano ba yung test na to? Okay? Remember, when he went out of Egypt, he brought yung whatever he has. Possession. He has a lot of sheep, cattle, everything. Madami siya. And God bless him also. It multiplies. The same thing with Lot. Okay? Kasama niya si Lot, remember? Kasama niya si Lot. So Lot also has many possessions. They went out of Egypt and they went to Canaan. Okay? And this thing happened. Okay? What is the problem? In verse 8. Okay? Can you flash verse 8? 13, verse 8. We're now in chapter 13, huh? Okay? Let us start with verse 7. Let us read better. I started verse 5. And Lot also, which went with Abraham, had flocks, herds, and tents. And the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together, for their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together. And there was a strife between the herdmen of Abraham's cattle and the herdmen of Lot's cattle. And the Canaanites and the Perizzites dwelt then in the land. Okay? So this is the problem now, because they have so many cattle, so many animals with them, hindi na makayanan pa na nagkakaroon na ng pagtatalo. Okay? Strife between the herdsmen of Abraham and Lot. Okay? Kung siguro nagkakaagawan ng pwesto, right? Dahil sa dami ng kanilang pinapakain na animals, nagkakasapawan or nagkakaanuhan ng lugar. Okay? This is now the problem. Okay? Nagkaroon ng strife or pagtatalo. And in verse 8, and Abraham said unto Lot, let there be no strife. I pray thee, between me and thee, and between my herdsmen and thy herdsmen, for we be brethren. Okay? So ano yung first thing na ginawa niya? He prayed. Right? Let there be no strife. So that's why, ito yung, kaya naging matagumpay siya, or that's why he was able to pass the third test. Okay? Because easily, okay, you can make a wrong decision again. Okay? You can let Lot get out of my land. He can easily say that, right? This is mine. But he consulted God, he prayed to God, and he made the right decision. Okay? When Christians have disputes, okay, if Christians have dispute in the church, let's say in the church, it hurts the testimony of the Lord. Okay, first, let us open in John chapter 13, 34 to 35. John 13, 34 to 35. This is what happened to Abraham and Lot. They have dispute. Okay? And the Bible said, okay, John 13, 34 to 35, a new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another as I have loved you, that ye also love one another. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if you have loved one to another. Okay, this is what God's instruction for us, to love one another. So if we are having dispute, our testimony, yung atin pong patotoo ay nasisira. Okay? Individually, as a church, as a children of God. Okay? Christian unity is fragrant and fruitful. Okay? Psalms 133 verse 1. Okay. Memorize the pastor. Paki-flash po para mabasa natin. This is a good verse. Psalms 133 verse 1. A Christian unity is fragrant and fruitful. Okay? Behold how good and pleasant it is for brethren, for us, church, to dwell together in unity. Okay? But this unity turns that fragrance into stink. Stance. And garden into desert. Right? Garden into desert. Okay? So nasisira po. So instead of having a unity, a good relationship with one another, which is a good sight in the Lord, ay nasisira po pag meron po tayong disunity in the church. Okay? So there are three kinds of people that were described in 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 14, verse 14, until chapter 3 of verse 3. So, in this lesson, in this setting with Abraham, Lot, we could see three kinds of people. Okay? We could see three kinds of people. Let us compare it with Genesis chapter 13, what 1 Corinthians chapter 2 and 3 describe. First is, how do you call the unsaved people? These are the herdsmen, these are the heathen, okay? During in the situation where Lot and Abraham is right now. Yung kanilang herdsmen, yung mga Canaanites, Perizzites, okay? Because one thing that is worse, okay, when this strife or this thing happened in Abraham and Lot, it was bad enough that the dispute between the brethren, okay, it is bad enough, but the heathen or the people around them ay na witness, okay, yung kanilang dispute. Okay? So now we will see the three kinds of people. First is the natural man. These are the unsaved. Okay? Second is the carnal man. Okay? What is carnal man? Sino yung mga carnal man? Okay? Come again? Maybe Christians. What else?
Saved but living
Okay, saved but living worldly. Okay? They are saved. They are saved. They come to know the truth. They have faith in God. But the problem is, they are not living the way that he should live. The way God wants him to live his life. Or, same as like Lot. Okay, same like Lot. Okay, that's why these three are being discussed here. Natural men are the herdsmen, the hidden. The carnal man is Lot. He is saved, but he is living out of God's hand. He lives in the flesh. Yung sarili niyang gusto or sarili niyang kalooban. That is Lot. That is a carnal man. Okay? So, check ourselves, check our heart. Are we living out of God's hand, or are we living out of God's will? Okay? So this is a carnal man, same as Lot. The third man is the spiritual man. Okay, what is a spiritual man? Saved and living with God. Okay, this is Abraham now. This is Abraham now. So Abraham is a spiritual man. He's saved and he is living the way God wants him to live. He is righteous in the sight of the Lord. Okay? This is a spiritual man. And this is what God's his children, church, okay, should same as Abraham, living a spiritual or being a spiritual man. Okay? So we see three kinds of people in this story. The natural man, which is the hidden, the carnal man, which is Lot, and the spiritual man, which is Abraham. Okay? There are important and valuable characteristics that Abraham, characteristics of Abraham that we as Christians should possess. What are these characteristics? There are 4 characteristics that we will discuss. First is Abraham lived for others, not for self. Okay? He put God first and others next. Okay? This is now a new Abraham. Okay? This is not the Abraham that was in Egypt. This is Abraham who already went out of Egypt and become close to God. Okay? Abraham lived for others, not for self. Okay? He can easily say to Lot, go away from my land. Okay? But, now he's living for others, not for himself. Abraham lived by faith and not by sight. Abraham was not worried about his future.
Brother Ronald, please tell them to turn back the continuation.
At the back, this is a continuation, the back of your program.
It should be number 2, not number 3.
Okay, number 2, yes. That's number 2. Abraham lived by faith and not by sight. Okay? Third is Abraham trusted the Lord and God blessed him tremendously. Okay? Remember what is God's promise to Abraham? Okay? What is God's promise to Abraham? Please answer me. He will be father of many nations, right? So, actually, not only the Israelites or the Jews, tawag dito yung ni Abraham, yung result ng blessing ng Panginoon. It's not only up to Israelites or up to the Jew, but we are also, the church are also, okay? We are also the results of Abraham's faithfulness or God's promise to Abraham. The church, okay? We, every believer, okay? So, next is Abraham gave thanks to God. Abraham worshipped the Lord and thanked Him for His gracious blessings. So always remember this, okay? We may fail, right? We may fail, but we should get up, okay? And continue our journey with the Lord. Study the life of Lot, and you will find the opposite. You will try to study the life of Lot. It's the opposite of the life of Abraham. Okay? That's why God cursed. What Lot? Where Lot chooses this land. When Abraham asked him, where do you want to go? Where do you want to occupy? This land or this land? He saw this land very beautiful. Diba? That's why he chose this land. What is this land? What is this place? Sodom and Gomorrah. Because in the eyes, it's very beautiful. And when he looked at the Canaan, okay, so he chose Sodom and Gomorrah and he built his tent there. Okay? So, now, let us go to the conclusion. Satan, our enemy, the devil, wants to use circumstances, people, things to tempt us, to tempt you, and bring out the worst in you, in us. Okay? Satan uses these circumstances, these people, these things that Abraham had experienced to bring out the worst in us. Okay? But God also wants to use these things to test you and bring out the best in you or the best in us. Okay? Abraham failed the first two tests. Why? Because he resorted to faith in man's wisdom rather than faith in God's word. Remember, Abraham failed the first two tests because he resorted in God, in man's wisdom, in his own wisdom, in his own knowledge. He made his own decision. He planned his own things, what to do. Okay, that's why he failed. But remember, the third test, he passed because he consulted God. He talked to God. He asked God. Okay? He acknowledged. First is he acknowledged that he sinned. He failed. Okay? He knows the lesson what God wants him to learn. And he repented. He asked for God's forgiveness. He turned away and go and follow and obey God's will. We as Christians should do the same. When we fail, when we make mistakes, this should not stop us. But as a victorious Christian life is a series of new beginning. We should get up, learn from that mistake, ask God for forgiveness, and ask Holy Spirit to guide you on your journey. Okay? So, Abraham passed the third test with great distinction because he let God take full control of his life. Okay? So that is our lesson for today. I'll give the time to Pastor John.
But ano mo yung last part?
Thank you so much, Brother Ronald. That was Really very, very helpful, the lesson, the three tests that Abraham experienced in his life. The first test was the test of, and Abraham, we learned that Abraham failed. The second test was a test of people, and again, we see that Abraham failed. But in the third test, the test of things. What are those things? It involved what? Land and wealth. Society is basically material possessions. Is it not true that many people today fight over material things? Brothers and sisters, they would even kill each other because of land issues. Husband and wives, having arguments, and sometimes they would separate over because of money issues, or even friends. Friendship are being severed because of money issues. Let us all remember, ang pera-pera lang yan. Amen? It's true na naghirapan natin yan, but what do you value most? Material things or people? And ang tinitingnan natin dito is the way they handled wealth. The Bible is telling us in verse 6 of Genesis chapter 13 that they had so much wealth already, flocks, both Abraham and Lot. And the problem was their herdsmen were fighting over the pasture. And so they were not, it's not Lot and Abraham, they were involved here because of their people. And so Abraham said, let there be no strife between me and thee. And Abraham said, you choose. Anong gusto mo? If you will choose, mamili ka, pipiliin mo yung kaliwa, akin yung kanan. Kung gusto mo yung kanan, kukunin mo yung kaliwa. Now, if you were Lot, what should you do? If you were Lot, what should you do? If Lot had common sense, he should have said, Uncle, you have been so good to me, I should not be here, in fact. I don't have all these things, if not because of you. And now you're letting me choose. Uncle, why don't you? No, I want you to choose. I'll take what's left, but I want you to choose. And if Abraham said, no, just choose. Okay, yeah, I'll just, you give him what you like. What you like for yourself, that's what you give to. But the Bible tells us that Lot lifted up his eyes, verse 10, and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. The Bible says all the plain of Jordan. That means ang lahat ng magagandang area, yun ang pinili niya. He left nothing good for his uncle. Okay? Verse 11, then Lot chose him. You see this? And then verse number 12, and Lot dwelt in the cities of the plain. Habang yung uncle niya nandun sa mga kabundukan, dun sa he chose the Lot. He chose the plain. Dwelt in the cities of the plain. And then the Bible says, and he pitched his tent toward Sodom. And later on in chapter 19, we find Lot. Okay, he was already sitting at the gate of Sodom. Meron siyang mataas na katungkulan na doon. Okay, let's look at those lessons again. Can you show us those things? We learned about this unity here. Christian unity is fragrant and fruitful, but this unity turns that fragrance into stems. Stems means a foul smell and garden to desert. We also learn three kinds of people described in 1 Corinthians chapter 2 and chapter 3 about the natural man, the carnal man, the spiritual man. Okay, next slide. Okay, yung susunod. Important lessons that we can learn from the life of Abraham. These are the things that you should do. Everybody, let's read this all together. Ready? Begin. Abraham lived for others, not for self. That's a very, very valuable lesson. Romans chapter 12 and verse number 10, in honoring, preferring one another. Okay? Not self, but others. Please think of that. Not many Christians are doing this. Okay? So if you're not doing this, you are doing what Lot did. Okay? You're doing the opposite. Let's read number 2. Ready? Begin. Abraham lived by faith, not by sight. Okay? He lived by faith, not by sight. Lot, the Bible says, he saw all the plains of Jordan. So he chose all the plains of Jordan. He lived by sight, but not Abraham. Let's read number 3. Begin. Abraham trusted the Lord, and God blessed him tremendously. In fact, number 3 dyan, Abraham let God choose or allowed God to choose for him. Okay? And then number 4, everybody read. Abraham gave thanks to God, and Abraham worshipped the Lord and thanked Him for His gracious blessings. Next week, we will come to a very sad chapter. Pinili ni Lot ang Sodom and Gomorrah. Why? Because it was beautiful. But he never knew the story behind Sodom and Gomorrah. That for 12 years, they were under the Sidonians. They were under the slavery. Itong Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, they were freed during the time that Lot chose Sodom and Gomorrah, but he did not know the history. And soon after that, they were attacked by the Sidonians, and he was abducted, and his family, and everything that he had. You know, sometimes we base what we think on what we see, but we cannot say the things behind that. That's why Abraham was wise to let God choose for him. You know, I would rather be in the mountaintops with God than to enjoy the plains of Sodom and Gomorrah with the devil. So I hope you learn your lesson from this beautiful story. I hope you will come early next week as we start that lesson on, you know, anong nangyari ngayon kay Abraham? Anong nangyari kay Lot? Anong nangyari dito sa dalawa? Okay? Come early. Come for the Friday school. Let's pray, and then we will start our